NFTs are the latest buzz in the technology. But what does it mean and how does it operate? How can small businesses benefit from NFTs? To talk more on the topic, we have with us today Anshul Rustaggi, founder at Totality Corp. Anshul, great to have you with us today.
Great. Thank you so much for having me. Really excited and looking forward to our conversation.
Wonderful. So, first would be, we hear so much about NFTs, but in very simple terms, what is NFT all about? And, some even question, is it more hype than substance?
Yeah, so I'll say, look, NFTs, see, Web3 is definitely going to be the future of our digital evolution. I would say it's a natural sort of successor to the internet and the Web 2.0 that we have so far. And what NFTs are is any data that is actually unique to you can be represented in the form of an NFT, right? So far, what we have seen people do, and that is tending towards the hype that you're mentioning, is that they're really talking about collectibles and art as NFTs. So we have pictures of monkeys and apes as art. We have some other collectibles that some artists have made, which truly have really good collectible value. But really, the use case has been so far limited to these collectibles and not been expanded. But going forward in the future, your resume will be an NFT, your health record will be an NFT, what your Google search history will be an NFT. So any data that is personal to you and unique to you can actually be represented in the form of an NFT. That is how I would want everyone who's listening to this video to actually think about NFTs.
Right. So, what really goes behind these NFTs? You have to simplify it.
Sure. So, see, the beauty of the NFTs is like as it's non-fungible token, and what it really means is that it's unique, right? And the idea is that, of course, you can create many new things like art, but overall, the value is that our digital imprint already is very unique, right? Most of the companies in the digital economy, whether that's Google or Facebook, they're actually making all the money that they're making because of the collecting all our data and our unique digital prints. So if you think about it, the one major aspect of the Web3 evolution is that it's actually giving the ownership back to the users, right? This is how the internet originally started, where it was supposed to be a decentralized peer-to-peer network. But with Web 2, we had a lot of centralization, which really helped us in economies of scale and reduction of cost. The reason why we are able to interact so much in a YouTube super chat or on TikTok videos or on Facebook or on WhatsApp so easily and so cheaply is because of this centralization. But what has happened over time is that a lot of privacy of data, a lot of this usage, commercial use of our data has really, lost that sort of autonomy for the users. So what NFTs are really bringing to the market is that you are now back in control of your data. It also gives you an immersive layer. What does that mean? That this is where the entire idea of metaverse and gaming comes into the picture. That my data is not just zeros and one like Neo could see in the Matrix, but it's actually a representation. It could look like me exactly in the digital world. I could look like a lion, a tiger, a cat, or maybe some sort of alien creature, or I could maybe just look like a paper if I wanted to look like that. What that transforms itself into is something which becomes a lot more interactive, a lot more immersive, and where the use case is a lot more fun as well. So imagine you and I interacting with our own unique set of data, which will be our NFTs. Like I said, if you are the doctor, I'm the patient, my patient record NFT comes to you. But in certain other use cases, when I'm actually having a, post-op session, when it's a little bit of maybe a little more fun element, trying to see what happened with my surgery, really trying to understand it, can I actually have that visual representation also, rather than just getting a data on record to say, oh, your operation started at 9:17 a.m. These are the steps that actually happened, etc. If the visual representation happens using NFTs and metaverse, I will actually be more immersed in it, right? So the idea is that the NFT is now this combination of your unique data set, but also gives the opportunity to add this aesthetic and visual layer to immerse you a lot more in the digital world.
So, what are the popular ways that NFTs are being used, and how do you think they will evolve over time now?
Right. So, see, one of the caveats, as I said, is you rightly use the word that is there a lot of hype around it. Obviously, with Web3, particularly in October of last year, when Facebook rebranded themselves to Meta, they just did a massive marketing after that particular event. Why is that important? Facebook is one of the largest Web2 companies still, and obviously them focusing entirely on a Web3 metaverse strategy meant that everyone felt that this is the time to actually jump to the same ship, right? Which meant that there was a lot of interest from consumers, from brands, from VCs, from startup entrepreneurs, etc. So a lot of move we have seen so far, which happens in any beginning of technology, is that because there is a massive marketing pull, a lot of attention given, we are seeing a lot of products of NFTs, which are in terms of profile pictures, right? So whether we saw Bored Ape, that, okay, here is a Bored Ape, or we saw CryptoPunks, or we saw sports collectibles, or we saw art collectibles, a lot of NFTs, when people think about it today, they're only focused on the art and the visual representation of it, right? So today, the reason why a Bored Ape or a CryptoPunk had value was because of social status, right? Anyone who was part of that project, you could actually go brag about it. If you owned it and you could verify that you actually owned it and you had your Twitter DP as one of the Bored Ape, everyone knew that, oh, this person is a serious investor, a serious player in the crypto and Web3 world. And that social status, like any social status, is worth a lot of, probably is worth a lot more than money, because, money can always be bought. Status takes a lot more time to be actually attained, right? So NFTs predominantly because of art have been used so far as collectibles and a representation of social status. What we have also started to see is games like Axie Infinity started to use NFTs in the play to earn gaming model. What we are seeing today, with obviously the overall markets, being in a little bit of trouble given the liquidity and the tightening with the US Fed, and the crypto markets also suffering, we have seen some large exchanges and companies. Even as we are talking, there is a potentially a very, very large crypto hedge fund which is probably going to go under as well. We are seeing a lot of pressure on these very new business models, right? So the next evolution of NFTs, which is the correct evolution in my opinion, is utility based, right? Now, whether, so for example, what we are doing at Zionverse is we are building a gaming system. How are we going to use NFTs? Every NFT will actually give you a utility. It attaches to you an avatar, which will have its own powers, your own swords, your own accessories, your own access. So if you are a certain level in a game, which happens in gaming, you can access certain areas. You can invite your friends. You have access to other features. You can play certain games which others can't. There is something VIP about it. Your level is actually higher. So that will be what gaming will start doing, which gaming has already done, but now it will be in the form of NFTs. Like I said, work, your resume will become an NFT. If I graduate out of IIT Delhi will actually write on my NFT that Anshul has graduated from IIT Delhi this year, this particular branch, these are the marks. And then it's up to Anshul what data Anshul wants to reveal. The great part would be that if I apply to you for a job and I reveal all my information, you know that it's already verified, right? Like I could not have faked it, because for a college to write on that data, the college will actually check it. And once that written, the college and me both will have to give the permission to actually override that particular data itself. So there's a lot of benefit, whether that's patient records, financial records, your stock portfolio, your Google search history, which that as an NFT, your search history and your traffic will become very, very important and valuable, which it is. And you can start earning for it, right? If I give access to my data, let's say my patient health records, to say insurance companies for larger judgment of mortality rates, then the insurance company maybe gives me a discount on the premium I pay to them, because I'm also helping them in their particular business. So there are, I would say, infinite sort of uses of NFTs, and we have only started to scratch the surface right now.
Right, only started to scratch the surface. So, in terms of what NFTs can do, how can small businesses benefit? Because we have a lot of readers who ask that, what is in there for small business?
Right. So I think any business which feels that they need to engage and retain their users, they can actually use NFTs, right? So as a very basic rule of thumb, if your business already has a loyalty point program or has ever thought of a loyalty point program, you already are executing the first basic level of NFT, right? If your business has ever done anything in gamification or uses a game like mechanic to again retain or engage users, you are already in the area that you can use NFTs to actually enhance that, right? And why do I say that? See, if you look at Starbucks card, really great loyalty program. I love it. If you see what Tata New is doing with all their loyalty program across their brands, they're actually saying that, look, if you come to us and you're loyal to us, here are certain rewards we give you, which you can use for further purchases. This is actually very well executed in an NFT space. Why? Think about the fact that if Tata New was an NFT, right? One, the points are accumulate, I own them. So tomorrow I could actually sell it to you, right? Without having to use them. Maybe I don't need to use them anymore, or I feel like I have too many of the points. Can I give that points to someone for money? I am in control of that. Tata New doesn't determine it. So for the user, if you give that benefit, that's a benefit to the community, which means the business will eventually also benefit from it. Tata New can say, listen, I'll charge a 5% commission if you trade loyalty points between you. Excellent. The other thing they can do is with NFTs is actually loyalty points right now is just a number, right? So if I got 1,340 loyalty points, I just see it as 1,340. It's a little bit boring. To make it a lot more engaging, obviously people do this gold pass and platinum pass and access, and they make your cards really good. That's what NFTs are in a digital way. Can they give a avatar of Anshul, and when I reach a gold level, I start maybe wearing gold sort of costume and jewelry. Maybe my hat becomes a gold. Maybe they give me a gold wand like Harry Potter, and the next time I have to buy something, I feel like I'm just moving that wand like Harry Potter, and something emerges. What that does is, of course, in the background, it is your 1,340 loyalty points, but it makes it a lot more engaging and interesting for the user, right? Which is why every business is moving towards giving you something which is gamified, fun, entertaining. Because yes, everyone can provide you with the same sort of product, but not everyone can provide you with the same service, right? And this enters into the service, the emotional aspect of it. So if you have a loyalty program, you've ever thought of a loyalty program, if you have any amount of gamification, or you already run some gamified rewards or programs, you are already ready to enter into an NFT program.
Right. So, Anshul, tell me a little bit about your company. What is Totality Corp all about? When did you start? What was the reason?
Sure. So a little bit about my background. I'm from IIT Delhi, went to IIM Bangalore, spent the next 11 years in London in the hedge fund industry. I then moved back to India in 2013, did law full time because I wanted to take a break. I went to Delhi University, finished my law degree there. And 2016, I started my entrepreneurial journey. So Totality Corp, which is my current company, I started in 2017. Our first product was in gaming, was called MGPL, Mobile Gaming Premier League. We were actually the first people to create a real money games platform for casual games. We launched in April 2018. We bootstrapped the company to 2.2 million users. 6 months after we started, MPL, Vinzo, Paytm First, a lot of these venture-backed companies came into that area. And obviously, they did take leadership away from us, because we did miss this strategic angle of raising VC money to kind of explode, right? That gave us a good learning about if the market is really good. We were growing 30 to 40% month on month. We really understood then the power of sort of what capital could do in terms of acceleration. After that, we raised VC money. We did try out a product in interactive videos, but from 2020, we started working on Zyneverse, which is our Web3 gaming and metaverse project for India and Indians all over the world. Our idea is sort of based on a couple of pillars. One, we know that gaming is already the new social network, right? So millennials, Gen Z, Gen Alpha are much more comfortable hanging out in a gaming sort of environment than they are on even Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, etc. Right? And if we see the evolution of social networks, Facebook was a lot more text initially. Instagram became more immersive with pictures. TikTok became even more immersive with videos. And now gaming is the next social network. For any social network, your own content is very important, right? And Minecraft and Roblox as games have done that really well. I can go and create my own content. But what is not there is that it's not very easy to publish my own content. We tried that in Minecraft, very difficult. Minecraft mobile is very limited to, if I create content, can you see it? Very, very tough, right? Roblox is very difficult to create content using their Roblox studio. So one thing we really wanted to do is truly bring user generated games to the audience, right? So what we have is like a Minecraft sort of environment where you can come build 3D games, 3D worlds, create your own avatar, drag and drop sort of game templates and launch those games on mobile. That's one area. And then the other area, the other pillar for Zion Versus, we are all content is based around Indian culture and mythology. Now, I have been a big fan of Indian culture and mythological content since I was a kid, right? I have never understood that, particularly when I went and lived in London for 11 years, right? When you are out of your country, the need to connect with your country is even more. I can tell you that the Diwali celebrations I used to do in London were probably 10, 20 times what I do when even now when I'm back in India, because somehow that need to connect is a lot more when you are not part of your country anymore, right? And one of the things I could never understand is, Japanese culture with samurai, Chinese mythology with all their gods, including they have a monkey god and it's so popular. Jet Li has done movies about it. Vikings with Norse mythology, Greek mythology, now Irish mythology. Everything is so big and global. And yet India and Indians, we are 1.5 billion all across the world. Our mythological and cultural content is limited to TV, which is not meant for even my generation, right? It's meant for my parents' generation. Forget the younger Gen Z and Gen Alpha. So and our culture is so rich, I couldn't understand why the stories we have cannot be given in a more interactive media format. So one of the main things that we are also bringing is all our content is around this Indian culture and mythology, right? So the first game we are coming out with is going to be called Run Bhumi, which will be based on Kurukshetra, right? So it's about sort of 5 warriors inspired by the likes of Arjuna, Bhim, etc. And they are it's a team battle game, and they're fighting against sort of each other in that battle game. All our NFTs are around gods. So if you buy the gods and warrior NFTs, your characters will almost like be disciples of those gods.
Right. Last question, Anshul. How has business progressed for you, and what are your plans for the future? There is a little bit of turmoil and uncertainty in the tech world. How do you see that panning out?
So, fortunately for us, we actually just raised money. This is something we haven't yet done a lot of announcement. We just raised money from Courtside Ventures, which is a US gaming VC. So we have raised around $4 million from all the investors. There are a few individual investors who have also come in. So we were fortunate to already have that capital. We are very well capitalized, and we are actually using this market to hire talent, right? So we were anyway going to be on the path to hire talent, but given the current scenario, the talent market has softened a little bit, and we are looking at to take advantage of that to really get very, very smart people. And it'll be a little more easier to get them given the market condition outside right now. I think the other thing that I think is overall positive with this drop, even though any drop in asset prices is painful, because a lot of us, including me, I am a crypto investor. We are losing money, but overall it's healthy for the market because business models evolve, right? there was definitely a froth in the market, which a lot of us were talking about, but the froth kept continuing. So no one really knew when the end of it was. That's the same for technology stocks, NASDAQ, US, the rates were really low, etc. But finally, that we have had this liquidation and event, business models are going to evolve for the better. And it is a much better scenario over the longer run. So the idea being that right now, given that the focus has now come to more sort of sustainable economics, we are also changing the business model and launching things which are a lot more long-term sustainability rather than just the same idea that people were doing around the hype that here is my NFT, here is my token, buy it for $1 in the hope that it's going to go up to $10 or $50. We are really focusing on the long-term aspect of community. That was always our idea, but I think now it will be heard a lot more because the entire market is really focused on the long-term aspect rather than the short-term sort of price gain. So I think the sense I want to give is, look, it's tough. It's a tough market if you are a startup entrepreneur. It's a tough market in this job because the job market has softened. But I wrote this on LinkedIn earlier today. A lot of companies, including Zionverse, Polygon, are actually hiring. There will always be opportunity for really good talent, whether that's Web 2 or Web 3. So if people are looking for jobs, and you want to explore a career in Web 3, do apply to Zionverse. We are actually taking this opportunity to actually, create even better foundation for Zionverse, because we think that this is the right time for us to capitalize on the opportunity presented to us. And fortunately for us, we just raised money a month back. So we are really well capitalized to take advantage of this situation. So we are actually looking at it as a lot more silver lining through these dark clouds. There's no denying that there are dark clouds, but I really see this more as a positive opportunity for Zionverse and for us as a company than anything else.
Thank you, Anshul, for talking to us. It was indeed a pleasure, and thank you for breaking down what NFT is all about.